Good morning, good afternoon, good day. Welcome to my midweek market meeting. I'm excited about today's session because I just now, a while ago, released a large number of enhanced Q systems versions, many of them. So many that it was intimidating even for me to release them together. I will start using them from today and I will also walk you through the changes. Let's begin. Because I will go through those enhancements, I will cover the regular roundup quickly, and maybe even before that I will walk through the changes. Let's start. I am Sagar Nandi, retired IT professional, swing trading stocks using Q systems. You may contact me using my email ID tradingprofitably@gmail.com. I regularly share live stock and market analysis on my website, YouTube channel, and Twitter handle. You are most welcome to make use of them. Disclaimer: this demonstration is for educational purposes only. I am not an investment advisor. It is not a trade recommendation. Trading involves risk. You and only you are solely responsible for the outcome of your trades. These are the Q systems I use. In my trading, they are based on TradeStation and Metastock platforms. I'll be using the same systems today. I hope you can hear me today. Unfortunately, I am conducting it from a place where there is some background noise. I apologize for that. I hope you can still hear me. Okay, let's have a look at the changes that I shared in an email a while ago. This is an enhanced release of almost all the Q systems. Edge, Vital, Index. Symbol is a tool that was not released to everybody earlier. It is useful to convert TradeStation or ticker symbols to Reuters or Refinitiv symbols. Why it was not released earlier? Even now it is not officially a product. Why I didn't release it earlier to everybody was because there was an issue with Microsoft Excel. They released some updates, applied it to few Excel customers but not to all of the Office customers. That was preventing it working for some people. Now I have found out that it is working for almost everybody, barring only one gentleman, a lucky man indeed. Because it is happening now with only one person, I have decided to add it to everybody who were having Edge Vital Index. Finder also has been updated, Elite, Global, all have been updated. Let's go through some of the changes. I have added these indicators. They are not for everybody, unfortunately, and they are not part of Q indicators. I didn't discover them. They were developed by many extremely renowned people over years, decades, long period of time. Many of them were part of AJSI, almost all of them. I have added few more in consultation with a gentleman. It is not meant to be released to everybody. I don't plan to have any documentation on this because these are not really Q indicators as such, but there are several people who were referring to this while using Q systems at the same time. To make their life simple at no additional cost, I am providing it to only those people. It has Kahuna, Pocket Pivot, Traditional Squeeze, Mobile Breakout or Momentum Breakout, ISOL Failure, Failed at Extreme, that is red candle high, green candle low. These are in charts and additional template in Metastock, study group in TradeStation, and they are also included as part of scanning. Explorer in Metastock Q Global, and Radar in QLE TradeStation. I am quite confident, excited about it, that you will find the integration of them extremely useful. I'll demonstrate how to use them, and some of you are much bigger experts on this than I am. I think all of you who are using these indicators for decades, you are much better expert and you will surely find more value from them. Next, sorry. Next is in Q Finder. Again, this will be relevant to the people who are having these additional indicators. There is a new Finder scan on Q Global for them, and the data can be visualized in Q Finder, an additional tab, and you could match between signals, traditional Q signals with the new additional signals. Also, now there is an added feature that in Q Finder you are able to look up signals in one place, say stocks hitting weekly memory support, into another place. What daily signals are they giving? We could do that manually earlier. Now I have added a mechanism so that I can first look at stocks at weekly support, and with the click of a button look up those stocks in daily Finder tabs. It could be for bullish signals for weekly support and bearish signals for weekly resistance. You will find this very useful. Next, because there is a new tab, very useful tab in Q Finder, Q Edge Vital Index, they have been improved so that when you look up stocks from Edge Vital Index, they look up not only the bullish and bearish tabs in daily, weekly, those tabs were already there in Q Finder. It will also look up the signals, the valuable Kahuna, Pocket Pivot, all these signals on the additional Q Finder tab. There was a request from one gentleman to be able to sort stocks in Edge Vital Index not only based on growth but based on revenue. He of course asked for positive revenue. Most of us are trading more on the long side, to look for stocks having revenue growth, not only earnings growth. Earnings growth smart filters were already there, and he mentioned that some stocks in the early stages of development may not have earnings growth, but revenue growth may be used as a criteria to find those stocks early in their life cycle. That made sense, and I have added 3 additional smart filter buttons on the bullish side, 3 more on the bearish side, to look for stocks with revenue growth, positive or negative. Q Global Market Breadth, another big change. Different reference lines have been added. I was using them in videos, YouTube sessions, but they were not released. Like 80% level for stocks that are above 50 MA. These different reference lines have been added. So it's easy to see whether the different studies are at an extreme level or not. Also, the 3-month new high low, many traders value them a lot. They are now available in multiple layouts, including those for composites, major indices, and also the total view. One important thing to note is that while making the significant changes in market breadth, the folder structure under Metastock data folder under C drive has been changed. Therefore, for installing the latest market breadth studies, please make sure that your Metastock data subfolders match with what is required in the latest update. And as usual, you may download the entire Metastock data as it should be from a link that I have provided in the install steps in the download. If you go to the download, you will find a link like before. You just download it, it will give you the entire Metastock data folder structure. You replace the old Metastock data folder structure with this one. I don't plan to change the folder structure ever again. It was not easy to make the change, and I had to do it because though initially global market breadth was released and used only for USA market, now several traders are using it for India market also. So I had to name the folders more meaningfully to know that, for example, NSE is National Stock Exchange of India. I wanted to make it clear that it is for India, whereas NYSE, New York Stock Exchange, is for USA. So I had to add those prefixes that resulted in changing the folder structure. It was necessary, but I am sure I understand it will be one extra step to update the data folder. Apologize for that, but this is the only time and last time that I changed the folder structure. Now another one. I think this one also will be very useful. I watch Dr. Jeffrey's videos regularly. Many of you trading in the USA market also do that, and he always mentions, and I realize that Q Edge has only, okay, only, but it is also a big list, S&P 1500 stocks. That list is big enough. But what if somebody wanted to trade other liquid stocks? I am not considering it useful to trade illiquid stocks. So what if I had liquid stocks that are not in S&P 1500? I find, for example, that in QH, one industry is strong. Let's say oil and gas refining is strong. Now, in QH, I could drill down to the oil and gas refining stocks that belong to S&P 1500. But how can I drill down into all liquid stocks that belong to that industry, oil and gas refining? Now there is a way to do that. The way is to create a list of liquid stocks. That list was already there in QVital. I have refreshed the list as of yesterday, and you may always create your own list. The liquid stocks, mid price and high price, I eliminated the low price stocks. Those are very speculative and risky instruments. So in QVital, one workflow was and is that fundamental first. What we used to do, we used to look at all the liquid stocks, let's say liquid, mid price, high price stocks, look at their fundamentals first. Now what we may do, calculate the scorecard of that large list up to 3000 stocks, calculate the list and leave it there, and then find out the strongest or weakest, as the case may be, industry or even sector, and then not drilling down into S&P 1500 stocks in QH itself, but using a button, look up all the stocks in QVital matching the industry and sector. I'll demonstrate that. Now with this feature, you are not restricted to only S&P 1500 stocks when you drill down from QH, industry sector, to underlying stocks. Now it may happen that some S&P 1500 stocks are not liquid. So when you look into QH and drill down, that list will be different from when you drill down into Vital among the liquid stocks, because some of the S&P 1500 stocks are actually not liquid. The earlier feature of looking up all PR stocks in QVital is of course there. You may use it if you wanted to use it. That will return liquid, illiquid, or even if you wanted probably very illiquid stocks. I don't think any of the Q traders are interested in them, but this is something I noticed myself, and Dr. Jeffrey also mentioned. I tried to provide a solution for that. Again, I am able to now look up the liquid stocks belonging to the strongest industry, weakest industry, strongest sector, weakest sector by traveling from QH to QVital using a single button. I'll demonstrate that today and in different videos from now on. And there may be other changes also. These were the major changes I could remember and quickly write down. I sent out this email just now, and this release was intimidating even for me to test it out, and maybe there is some error. I don't know. If you find some error, please let me know. I work on multiple computers. One is the development environment, one is the release environment. Sometimes they are not in perfect sync. Therefore, it is possible, though not very common, as you know from Q systems. But if you find some issue, let me know. I'll fix it immediately. Those were the changes, and I'm going to use them. And because I'm going to use them, instead of using the standard 2 chart at a glance template, I will use the 3 chart at a glance template. I recognize some traders will not have them, but that is fine. The standard Q templates are also there. My trade signals are still coming from the Q charts, but the additional signals are something of added value, especially for people who were already using it, but were using it maybe on TradeStation, maybe on HGSI. Most of them are in HGSI. Most of them may be on TradeStation also, but instead of moving between different platforms, you are able to look up everything from one platform. Now let's start with the global market, the usual roundup session. Start with the Australian index AXJO. Australian index is continuing to be in an uptrend. In the last webinar, one price was here. I mentioned I was not going to take new long trades. The long trades taken at the yellow direction line, we could continue to hold partial position. Today's candle is very bullish, both in shape, both in color. So we would like to continue to hold at least partial position. Weekly candle is also bullish. If I find some useful indicator in the new template, I'll mention it. For now, I don't see them at the right edge. So let's continue. Australian market is in an uptrend. Yes, Dr. Jeffrey, thanks to you. I watch your. Okay, I should mention this. I mentioned it regularly, but I must mention it again. I attended a class of Dr. Jeffrey that was several years ago. Okay, let me open up the actual year. That was 2018. I attended a class. I couldn't go to USA. I don't travel nowadays much out of Thailand, but that was in 2018. Now it is 2021, and I cannot tell you, Dr. Jeffrey and others, how many times I have watched those videos, and it is not easy. It is not a single video. There are many videos, many PowerPoints, and you have to attentively listen to them and carefully read the PowerPoints to get the full sense of it. Now, let me divert a little bit from the roundup. So from March of this year, at March end, my one of the accounts, the TestyWorks accounts that I sometimes share with some traders whom I'm trying to help, I try to use start that account with 30,000 USD every year. Why 30,000? That's a good minimum amount in my view because it doesn't have the day trading restrictions. Day trading restriction ends at 25,000, but I keep some buffer. Not that I'm day trading, but I start that account with 30,000 every year. At the end of March, I had 30% profit. Since then, 2 months have passed. My profit has increased only by about maybe 15%. It's hovering around same level, 30%, 35, maybe sometimes 29. I am maintaining the profit percentage, but didn't make any profit for 2 months. But I traded many trades. I gave considerable brokerage even for TestyWorks, which doesn't have brokerage for stock trading. So when that was happening, I realized the time was not the best time. So around end of March, I started watching those videos once again. I I know for so many years that Dr. Jeffrey and many other traders uses the signals, but I didn't actually use them. I am not an HSA user and I invest in multiple countries. HSA doesn't support other countries other than USA. So I took these 2 months or so to go through the material again and again, multiple times during these 2 months, and started coding it and then release it. And I had to do it for Q Global, Q Elite plus Q Finder and the scan. And I am very happy with the result. I have started looking for trades and I will share some of them. Combining them on the same platform is proving very useful. And anybody who has not attended Dr. Jeffrey's class, I am looking forward to his next class again though. If you have not attended, you may also attend. If by chance you are watching this video but have not watched Dr. Jeffrey's videos, please contact me. I'll provide the link, which is actually this one, this channel. This channel, let me put it in the chat. I watch his videos every day and the additions are thanks to him. It was developed by many experts over many decades, but he uses it regularly and I got to know of them from him. So I give credit to Dr. Jeffrey. I will go through the indicators in the new template when I see something useful. Okay, that was it. An history, an account of when and how and why I developed them. Took a lot of effort. Happy to share it with the HSA traders. Okay, so Australian market, it is bullish. Let's look at Japanese market. Japanese market, interestingly, after displaying the bullish headwind, it has gone up. And when the bullish headwind came, price reversed from the watermark support level with a bull release signal. For an index, it had high activity. If the index had high activity, we could imagine that individual stocks would have very or extreme high activity, thereby giving a box setup, box long setup that is applicable to sideways market or at double bottom. In this case, even better, double bottom with false downside breakout. Even better because there was a bullish headwind and a bullish pressure as well. So individual stocks could be bought right at that time. Q traders, including myself, we use the box setup quite regularly in such cases. Half of those or two-thirds of the position, depending on your technique, could be exited once the risk distance was covered. Yellow direction line would be a good point for that, and the remaining could be held. Right now it is near the trend line resistance. I am not going to buy new position, but the positions initiated at the double bottom with the additional help from bullish headwind will continue to hold partial position. I'll go through the new chart template. I have some, I think I will find some good stocks to look at that instead of looking at the global markets using that. Topics starting to go up. It is, if you see lower high, lower low, it is still having lower high, lower low, technically still in a downtrend, but looking at the weekly and daily, it seems it will go out provided it can break above the trend line resistance. That is a big provided. It doesn't always break out easily. We'll keep an eye on that. China CSI 300. That trend line support, weekly trend line support, still holding. That is why I created this feature in Finder that look for stocks at weekly support in QFinder and then show the daily signals for them. I'll try to demonstrate that also. We could buy every time price came to the trend line support, at least the last two. Actually, the first point also. I mentioned it that weekly support was there at that time. Now it is too close to upper boundary and we have two indecision at the top, one bear release. We are not going to buy now. At the same time, it is very close to trend line support. So we are not going to short. FTSE index now. UK market, it is moving sideways, and this is the one index we are seeing so far where the weekly backdrop is bearish. After displaying one bear release signal and two indecision at the top, I'm not going to buy now. There is indecision at the top in daily also near watermark resistance, but more because it has indecision at the top and the weekly backdrop color is bearish. It cannot short also because there is a trend line support. I think we'll find the global market same as in my last webinar. They are not going to allow me shorting and they may not allow me buying as well. But the long positions bought earlier, we may be still holding them. Last is Nifty 50, India market. It made a new all-time high. It's surprising. That is why I don't try to find reasons of why the market goes up and down. The COVID-19 situation in India is appalling. It's sad, and it's so many people are getting affected, highly populated, not so rich countries, poor country in fact, though there are some very rich people, but overall it's a poor country, I have to say. And it is very difficult to control COVID. COVID is out of controls, and still the market went up, made a new all-time high. And several people are asking themselves why it is doing that. I don't do that. I just trade and I'm finding stocks and buying them. India market doesn't allow shorting using stocks, so I am buying them. And I shared a snapshot. Actually, it was my account. I wanted to reinforce that again, that if we don't worry about what is going on, not what is going, if we don't worry about why market is going up, then we'll not hesitate to take a trade and we'll do well. There is no point trying to think why the market should go up. This was my account, and it's a non-resident Indian account, has many restrictions. For example, if I bought a stock today, I am not allowed to sell for 3 days. That's a big restriction because many of my swing trades, short-term trader, they hit the profit target or stop within 3 days. Average holding period is 5 days. I started trading in the account on 19th February, and I showed in the last video, I think, 19th February. Here, if you see in the weekly chart, that was the all-time high when a bearish headwind came. Lucky for me or not, I started trading on exactly that day in this account. That account was opened and got ready. I funded it. Now this report shows the closing days. It's a calendar pattern. It's actually the biggest broker in India now. And diverting a bit, the founder is a, I think, 35 or 36 years old, US dollar billionaire, a very innovative person, 35, 36 years old, and he likes to play music with his kid. God bless him. India needs more entrepreneurs like that. I think every country needs people like that. Now, this report shows the days when trades were closed, and green color is profit, red color is loss. So from February 19th to end of May, actually end of May, I closed one more day with green color here. So I had taken loss only on 2 days for closing with all those restrictions. Everything else is profitable. More than 88% success rate in terms of closing days, and my trade success rate would have to be more than 80% success. Now I could do that because I was not worried about why the market is going up. In fact, it went down also, but using Q, Edge, Vital, and Global, I could find stocks even when the market was going down. You saw my record, only 2 days I had to take loss. So even during this down move, I was making profit, and during the up move also, I was making profit. And now I am using the new templates. It's making it easier to find trades, and also it's certainly making it more fun. So India market made a new all-time high. I am holding some long positions, but I am not going to enter new long positions, especially in stocks that were already going up with the market. As I mentioned, I would rather look for a shorting opportunity, but my account or US India market stocks don't allow shorting, so I'll not be able to short. I'll protect profit in my existing positions. India market made a new all-time high again this week. So global markets are bullish. Let's look at the USA market now, starting with S&P 500 ETF SPY. SPY is near the watermark resistance. It had bearish headwinds at that level or near that level. Indecision candle, bear release signal, indecision candle again. Weekly also bearish headwind. And backdrop color has remained bearish, though price bounced up from the weekly trend line support and daily trend line support. So I was not going to look for many new long positions, especially in stocks that were going up. I did buy some healthcare stocks. I will share them again. It is bullish, but not in a place where I will like to take many new trades. There was, I see, there was actually, this is yesterday actually. It has drawn one dot for today, but as of yesterday, we have a reversal candle at pendulum high. That is always a cautionary signal. Reversal candle at pendulum high. One more reason not to take new long trades or be cautious. QQQ. Reversal candle at pendulum high yesterday. It is some distance away from making a new all-time high relative to SPY, showing that it is weaker. Backdrop color is bearish, but neither SPY that we saw just now and QQQ, they are not allowing us to short because they have trend line support. DIA, I think the picture will be similar to SPY. Yes, backdrop color remaining bearish, has weekly support, daily support in some distance away, but doesn't allow me to buy, already some distance above the recent low. Cannot buy too far, stop will be too far, and it has not enough bearish signal to take a short trade. And IWM Russell 2000, this looks like breaking out of the trend line resistance in weekly. So I will be happy to short it if it makes a false upside breakout and pulls down today, because my stop will be extremely narrow. This is similar to a box trade but using trendline resistance, so it's like a bounce trade, but there is no swing trade setup. If I see it is coming down from the trendline resistance, I may use the precise entry or fine-tune chart to take a short with even narrower stop on 5-minute or 10-minute interval. And if I use put vertical, for example, then the reward risk ratio may be quite attractive, even more attractive. None of the USA market instruments, the market ETFs are allowing me to buy easily and certainly not allowing me to short. Let's look at the USA total view. I was looking for, still looking for distribution count at the right edge, not coming. That's why I'm still not thinking it will drop sharply on suddenly. Gradually going up. And the new market breadth release now includes the 3-month new high low study. There is nothing much to read from the other signals. I mentioned the new release has these reference lines 80% and 20% level. How I am going to use them is be whichever country I'm studying, India, USA, if the market comes down, unlikely it will come down suddenly, to the 20% level on these three studies, I am going to look for buy setup. Of course, the yellow line will come down probably first and then the white line and maybe the last, the orange line. But if it happens, those low points when 20% of the stocks are above 50-day MA in market breadth total view, not one index but two composites for major indices. If it comes down to that low level, we can start scouting for fundamentally strong stocks using, for example, 3-star candidates in Q terminology or box stocks in HSI terminology. You could find box stocks also using the Q vital stock scorecard. That's how I'm going to use them, but I don't see they are going to come down so easily. They are at a very high level. And there was a relative weakness in Nasdaq compared to NYSE that we could see from the composites. In the last webinar, remember, if you watch the last webinar, attended the session, you know I mentioned that the weakness is disappearing, and I don't have any crystal ball. It looked like that when I studied everything, and you see the yellow line. Last video also I showed that it was going above the average line. Now it has gone up further from to 35% or so. Now it has reached 50%. So it has improved. The weakness that was there earlier in Nasdaq relative to NYSE in this area, that started disappearing in my last webinar itself, and now it has gone away more. That was a look at the market breadth. Let's now look at the mega cap top 20. Mega cap top 20 is also going up, moving sideways for several days. Overall it is in an uptrend but moving sideways for 5 days. 5 days, some distance away from the recent low. Backdrop in weekly is bearish. Not going to buy now. In fact, some of the mega caps are looking weak. They have support, and I mentioned in previous webinar I had a short position in Apple and Amazon both. Let's look at those two stocks. Let me switch to Q Elite. In one of the previous webinars, somewhere here in fact, I mentioned I took a short trade in Amazon. Let's look at Amazon first. Amazon, and let's point to some of the new indicators. It had ice hole failure 3 days in a row. In fact, it had on the next day also, 4th day in a row during market hours. The 4th day in a row went away by the close, but it had ice hole failure for 3 days in a row. Relatively, it was looking weaker. Now, of course, it doesn't have any swing short trade setup using Q technique. Trend line support is very close, but I did take a put vertical, and I have small profit in that trade. Now it has trend, it is right at trend line support, so I am careful. Don't have big profit, it has not dropped much, just little bit profit, and it didn't have any proper Q trade setup. So I took a small position using put vertical. I am watching the trend line support every day. If it comes to that level and starts to go up in daily chart, I'm going to close my trade, book profit. Now, is it going to break below the support? I'll be happy if that happens, but I'm not going to risk the position for a big stock like Amazon. So I'm going to book profit quickly if it goes up, especially because it didn't have any proper Q trade setup. When I have a proper Q trade setup, I'm more comfortable holding on to a trade, and it didn't have proper Q trade setup from all angles. Fundamentally also it is not weak. Certainly Amazon is not weak, and technically also I didn't have any Q trade setup, but relatively it was looking weaker. And I mentioned on that day I also shorted Apple. Now I shorted because there was no Q trade setup. I in fact shorted using fine-tuned chart. So my entry was very precise, and that's why I am having some profit. I shorted Apple also at that time, and it came to trendline support. So I in fact booked the profit, small profit I had in the trade. I didn't wait. It came to the trend line support yesterday. I closed my Apple short position. I'm holding Amazon short position with put vertical, long put vertical, but I'll watch it carefully. It's a high price stock and I don't want to take risk with that position. Going back to mega cap. Okay, so we studied the market ETFs, market internals. There is no bearish signal, not enough to take short trades. There is no easy short positions coming up in individual stocks, but long positions are coming up. I mentioned I am not buying stocks that were moving up already, but I did buy some stocks at low prices. I'll share them, but let's look at the other market angles. Bucket analysis, it jumped up by more than 10% yesterday. Yesterday was not very bullish. I'm doing it live. I think the data is accurate. I updated it. Market was not that bullish yesterday, but a large number of, okay, I should be careful when I say that. When I say market was not very bullish yesterday, that was based on the market ETFs. But when I look at the overall sector industry stock advance decline, market was very bullish. That's why it is very useful to look at these plots, whichever country you are trading in real time. Then you would not be afraid to buy stocks looking at SPY, QQQ not going up. QQQ was in fact coming down. But we could still buy stocks because the overall breadth was bullish, and I see a healthy, a little bit more than healthy, more than 10%, more than 12%, actually 12 point, more than 12.15% jump in one day, maybe a cautionary signal. More than 10% jump, about no, not more than 10. I am not so good in maths, as you can see. 9% jump in stocks above the midline. It's a healthy bullish indication. This is more than 10% jump. That's something to keep in mind. But yesterday was bullish if you look at this market breadth. And I mentioned several times this 1 day, 2 day periods were becoming bearish and turning green again. That happened again. However, I also watched and mentioned that some weakness was there in 5 days that has disappeared now. 10 days had some weakness in the last webinar also. Now that has largely disappeared, and 1 month, okay, it has become bullish again. So this is happening every time market becomes weak in terms of 1 day, 2 day breadth, it turns back up again, and we are not seeing any distribution count on Q market breadth. So that's why I'm not thinking market will drop suddenly. Now market doesn't mean market is easy to make lot of profit. As I mentioned, at least for me, from end of March till end of May, for 2 months I didn't lose money. Maybe my profit went up by 5% or 3%, but that's a small percentage profit for 2 months, and that is because stocks are getting stopped out. Or if I am using options, they are losing time value. Even verticals, if they're long verticals, they are losing time values. But I did buy some stocks. Some of them are doing well. I usually share the trades either on Twitter. Many of my trades I share on Twitter, and my forum sagarnandy.com will look at some of them. Now this picture is bullish. So whether it is bucket analysis, other than this more than 10% jump in one day in the most extreme uppermost bucket, other than that, Q edge is bullish. And let's look at Finder. The weekly picture, all signals bullish, trend signals bullish, continuation bullish, reversal is also bullish. So everything in the weekly period has turned bullish. And yesterday, interestingly, all signals, trend signals, continuation signals bullish, reversal signals mixed. So the market was bullish. Again, if I look at the market ETFs, let's look at them using Q Elite quickly. SPY yesterday was not bullish day. QQQ, not a bullish day. DIA, big gap up but sharp pullback. Not a bullish day if you look at the extent to which it came down after a gap up open. And IWM, that was the only one that was bullish but stopped right at the trendline resistance. This is in contrast with what we saw from QH, breadth inside, bucket analysis, and from QFinder. What does it mean? It means the bigger cap stocks didn't do well yesterday. And if we look at the FANG stocks, extended FANG stocks, Facebook remained inside the early range. Apple closed below the early range, also below previous day's low. Facebook actually closed above previous day's close. So Facebook was up for the day, Apple was down for the day, and it closed below previous day's low. Amazon closed just below previous day's low, far below early range low. This is the information I used when I shorted Amazon one of those days when it started dropping below early range low. That's why my entry was very precise. Yesterday it closed below previous day's low. Netflix closed well below previous day's close, well below previous day's low, below early range low. Google went up. For a few weeks now, Google had been stronger. Facebook also had been relatively stronger. And Tesla closed below previous day's close but above previous day's low. So it was in between the Facebook, Google, and Apple, Amazon. So as you can see, my decision to short Apple and Amazon and not the other FANG stocks turned out to be useful. Not that I made a large profit from them, because I had vertical trades and they had trendline support in daily, so I didn't want to risk them. Amazon I'm still holding, but this shows that mega caps didn't do very well, whereas many stocks went up. Which stocks went up? Let's go to stocks directly from QH. Let's sort the stocks by performance, and we see many stocks went up, and these are not totally unknown stocks. These are in S&P 1500. They went up by 15%, 10%, 8%, large percentage gains. I can see value stocks there. Let's look for 3-star candidates. Even 3-star candidates went up by this large percentage. That's why it's useful to look at Q Finder and Q Edge to decide trades, not just look at the market ETFs. These are 3-star, great valuation, great earnings growth, and they went up by significant percentage. Now let's look up their signals. Let's say all stocks that went up by at least 5% yesterday in S&P 1500, 3-star candidates. Let's look up their signals in QFinder. I can see there are 2 breakouts, 7 go with flow trend following setups, and 4 pullbacks. Let's look at the 2 breakouts. And now using this new button, I'm going to look up the signals in these 2 stocks in other finder tabs. So I'm going to click this. Okay, they are highlighted. Let's go to the alternate signals. So the 2 stocks that I selected, they are CPS and GPI, Group 1 Auto and Cooper Standard Holding. Now I am able to look up the alternate signals, the edges I like signals. So I see, very beautiful, isn't it? That's why I'm starting to love them, combining the 2 systems. They have, both have pocket pivot, mobile breakout from traditional squeeze with a kahuna. There is a PSAR reversal in Group 1 Auto, and the big move shows that Group 1 Auto had the biggest move in 3 months, and Cooper Holding had the biggest move in 5 days. Now time to look at their charts. Beautiful, isn't it? Let's look at the Q signals once more. What were the Q signals? For Cooper Holding, it's a breakout, possible pullback, possible go with flow. In fact, for both of them, breakout from trendline resistance, going up from yellow direction line, bullish flow. Group 1 Auto is also touching trendline support, bouncing from trendline support. So Group 1 Auto was inside a triangle and it went up with bullish pressure. Group 1 Auto is already at price extreme high. Cooper Holding not at extreme high yet. And if I go back to the alternate signals, there was, I think, some more. Okay, jump and thrust are not at an extreme yet. Now let's look at them on charts, CPS and GPI. Now before I look them up on the charts, let's put them on the new finder, new sonar also. CPS and GPI. On TradeStation Q Elite, let's read out the signals. Went up by significant percentage since open on a closing basis, big percentage move on a day when the market ETFs were weak. High activity, GPI has bullish pressure, both of them have breakout. GPI touch trendline support, bounce from trendline support. Both have go with flow and pullback signals. And we have pocket pivot, mobile breakout, kahuna. One is at pendulum high, uptrend direct D is showing in uptrend, confirm uptrend, relative strength strong. Let's look at them. CPS, okay, that's looking good. It's breaking from trendline resistance both in weekly and daily. Bullish flow, candle color, bullish shape also. High activity. In the alternate signal, kahuna, PSAR is still red. Pocket pivot, mobile breakout from a squeeze with a kahuna with a big move, biggest move over last 1 week, 5 days. So this is how I have ordered the indicators. At the lowest end is the isol failure. It's scary. So at the lowest end isol failure, then red candle high, green candle low, then PSAR, then the order in which we usually read them, pocket pivot, that is based on volume, not so much on price move, then mobile breakout, price move from a squeeze, kahuna, bigger price move, then the big move, and if jump thrust are hitting extreme, that will show up at the uppermost. So this is how I'm combining the signal. CPS looks good, and remember, it is one of the strongest fundamental stocks, 3-star CPS. Now let's look up its industry. Oh, was it CPS or GPI? CPS, yes. Industry, auto parts and equipment, great industry. So we completed a 360 degrees analysis. We looked at Q signals and HSL-like signals, and we find a mobile breakout from a squeeze with pocket pivot and kahuna. This I have heard Dr. Jeffrey mentioning so many times. Now it is still just recovered the yellow direction line, but I can see it was moving sideways at the white direction line, now regaining the yellow direction line. That may be a good buying opportunity. So as I mentioned, I am happy to buy stocks. I didn't buy it yet. I am happy to buy stocks, but not stocks that are at a high price level. I'll share some of the stocks I bought recently. Let's look at the next stock, GPI. This is already at pendulum high. So usually I avoid buying these stocks, but there are other traders who like to buy stocks at pendulum high or 52-week high. It's giving a pullback setup, broke out of trendline resistance in daily, at trendline support in weekly. Let's look at the new signals, PSAR reversal, pocket pivot, mobile breakout from a squeeze with kahuna, biggest move in last 5 days, 1 month, 3 months. So very big move. Still jump thrust not at an extreme yet. This is not my kind of trade, but I know traders who may like to buy when a stock finds support at yellow direction line, goes up with kahuna, mobile breakout, etc. They may look at it. Now these are the stocks you may now find by combining Finder, Q signals, Finder new signals, or from the sonar. Now another way could be I could start with Finder. Let's look for mobile breakout. I'm flagging the columns with a squeeze with a kahuna. Let me sort by percentage move. I may even search for pocket pivot because I see many bullish candidates. Now I still have so many candidates with pocket pivot, mobile breakout with a squeeze with kahuna. I could look for BGO, but instead let me look for big moves. Let me flag for big move, and let's focus on these stocks. So I'm highlighting these stocks, clicking the scissors to look at them, and let's look at the biggest movers. Sometimes the biggest movers are not actually too late to buy. They may be just at the beginning of a big move. So let's look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Very quickly I could find the stocks with, beautiful isn't it? Pocket pivot, mobile breakout from a squeeze with kahuna, with big move. In fact, I see two of them are BGU, Bible Gap Up. Let's look at those two first. And I'm going to apply the new 3-chart template, this time on Q Global. Let's look at the new signals first. By the way, this is Bongo. The candle pattern. I mentioned in the last webinar that it was Q entry coloring, but I later on enhanced it to have Bongo color. So we have a kahuna. Let's read it from the bottom also. Bongo is green, kahuna is there. PSAR reversal, pocket pivot, mobile breakout from a squeeze with a kahuna with a Bible gap up, biggest move in 5 days, 1 month, 3 months. See exactly what I looked for. And in the daily, beautifully, it is giving a go with flow long trade setup. SU, isn't it? So what I could do, I could click the finder icon here, and you see Suncor Energy is actually giving me a go with flow long setup. Incidentally, the other one, APA, is also giving go with flow long setup, also giving a breakout. Both of them are gap up move. I expected that because they are BGU also. They have bullish pressure. They're at price extreme high. No problem. I think it's still giving a valid buy setup with BGU for SU. And the other stock was, let's look at that, APA. Great. As I mentioned, the big moves maybe not too late. It's just the beginning. Very nice breakout from daily and weekly trendline resistance with a bullish pressure, very high volume, bullish flow shown by candle color and here. Bongo green, Kahuna. Now let's look at the new band indicators. PSAR reversal, pocket pivot, mobile breakout from a squeeze with a Kahuna, Bible gap up, biggest move in 1 week, 1 month, 3 months. These are beautiful looking charts in my view, beautiful looking charts, and we didn't look at their fundamentals, APA and SU, because this time I started from the alternate daily signals. Why don't we do that? Let's look at these two stocks. I'm highlighting both of them, not doing PR analysis. I just want to look at their fundamentals, clicking the PR analysis button, not using any one of them as root stock, but just calculating the scorecard is going to sign me in first. Updated. Let's look at the score. Okay, they are both high growth stock. I'm allowed to buy based on high growth. If the valuation is not so good, they are 3-star candidates, have short squeeze potential. Now time to look up their industry. I could actually look up for both of them. They are both in energy sector. Let's look at both of their industries. Look at their graphs first. Though if I am selecting many industries together, the graph becomes cluttered. 2 industries or 1 is okay. Integrated oil and gas holding steady. We have total 147 at a very high level. Oil and gas exploration and production, very high level. And now if I look at their rotation, very strong. So we have these two stocks in very strong industries and very nicely breaking out with BGU, pocket pivot, mobile breakout from squeeze with Kahuna with big move. I think they are good setups and easy to find. Now let me demonstrate one more thing. Let's go to QVital, go to Universe. Usually we are regular traders, usually would not like to focus on low price stocks. Neither do we want to trade stocks that are not liquid. So this list, mid and high price stocks, liquid stocks, this is a good list to use for stock trading or options trading. 2000, about 2100 stocks. Let's calculate their score. Is connecting with Refinitiv, and now they are all liquid, all mid price, high price stocks. Once it calculates the scorecard, let it do that. What I'm going to do, I'm going to now do a top down analysis. Let's go to the strongest sector starting with Q Edge. Strongest sector yesterday, energy, real estate. How interesting. Very mixed up. First energy, then real estate defensive, then materials, industrials non-defensive, utilities at the bottom, defensive, healthcare at the bottom, maybe defensive, non-defensive, mixed. Okay. Now here, from here, if I click the peer analysis button, and if I have, okay, let it complete the calculation. Otherwise, we will not be finding any scorecard of the stocks. Give it a few minutes, hopefully a few seconds. Once the calculation is done, I am able to highlight one or multiple sectors from sector rotation scorecard, be from scorecard or from percentage move, secondary sector, secondary percentage move, or industry also. So let's choose the best two sectors and most accelerating sectors. Drill down to the industries. We could look up the stocks from Vital, both from sector or industry. So I'm drilling down to the strongest industries now in those sectors. Let me check Vital. Still calculation is going on. Once calculation is complete, when I'm running the webinar, it takes a while sometimes. If I click this button, remember orange color is going to take me to a different application, and blue color going to take me to same application. So this button was already there. This would look up stocks in S&P 1500 in Q Edge, and this should take me to Q Vital. So if Q Vital has a list of stocks scorecard already ready, it will look up from that stock. So I have started using it. Sorry about it, it's still calculating. But once the calculation is complete, I could look up the liquid stocks belonging to those industries. Not necessarily I'll be restricted to. Okay, it's done. Good. Thank you, Vita. Thank you, Refinitiv, I should say. So let me go back to Q Edge. I will demonstrate both. So let me click the blue button as usual. That will take me to Q Edge. It will show me the S&P 1500 stocks as usual from those industries only. And if I go back to the industry, these are all the industries I selected, and now I am clicking the orange peer analysis button. It's going to take me to Vital and see same industries, but now it is all liquid stocks. So we don't have to be restricted to S&P 1500. Now I could find the 3-star candidates, many of them. And by the way, these are the revenue growth filters. Why don't I look for stocks? What stocks I'm looking at? In strongest sectors, in strongest industries, and then with great valuation earnings growth, not limited to S&P 1500 but all liquid stocks. Let me now use the new buttons for revenue filter. Let me use last quarter revenue growth. They have revenue growth also, high revenue growth in the last quarter. And now I'm going to highlight the ones that moved by at least 2%. Let's look up their signals in Finder. Okay, there is one breakout, several go with flow, several gaps, one bounce. And if I look at the alternate signals, it looked up the alternate signals also. We have 2 pocket pivot, 3 mobile breakout, 4 Kahuna, and 1 stock I can see here. It has PSAR reversal, mobile breakout from a squeeze with Kahuna with a big move over 1 week as well as 1 month. DCP midstream. Let's look that up. Exactly that stock in Q signals, Q finder. It has a bullish pressure breakout, bullish flow, and a bounce also from trend line support. So let's look at this stock before ending today. I also want to show some more stocks. Okay, DCP. Let me just look that up. DCP. No, DCP. I typed wrongly. DCP midstream. Yes. Breakout with bullish flow, bullish pressure, weekly backdrop bullish, relative performance strong. Kahuna, Bongo bullish. And if we see here, PSAR reversal, mobile breakout from a squeeze with a Kahuna with a big move over 1 week, 1 month. So these are different ways you can find stocks. Now let's quickly look at some of the stocks I shared recently. One was Edu, if I remember correctly, Edu. Yes, Edu. Why I shared it? I shared it as a bounce setup. The stock dropped sharply suddenly to pre-existing deep watermark level and went up on this day with a bull release signal, and it closed above previous day's close. So it gave a bounce long setup on that day. Edu, New Oriental Education, it's a Chinese education company, and I took a long position at that time. The same time that I shared it and I'm holding it, it tried to go down, but my stop would be below recent low. Stop was not hit. Now I have a small profit in the trade. Let's look at, I know we are past 1 hour, but if you allow me, I wanted to, usually I don't share IPOs. Those are not my usual trading instruments, but I came to know about this stock from a chat group, and I don't buy based on other chat groups analysis, but I shared it at that time because I saw it has interesting innovative product. I found that out from, or I thought so when I analyzed it from Zenith, and I saw the weekly very bullish recent IPO went up, dropped sharply, and starting to go up after showing bullish bull release signal, yellow backdrop, then cyan backdrop. In daily, this was earnings day, so that's interesting. After earnings tried to go down, immediately reversed, and when I shared it, it was regaining the yellow direction line. Not a typical Q trade, neither do I typically use IPOs to analyze. Why not a typical Q trade? Because it is already above recent low, but it looked interesting to me when I looked at the business they are in, so I took a small position in that stock, STEM. So I entered it around here. When I shared it, I also have a profit in the trade. Now, one stock I found yesterday or day before yesterday. Let's now look at that stock. Let me do a peer analysis of the stock. This is an interesting stock, and it gave very useful, very valuable signals on both Q systems and HSA like indicators. EBS, healthcare stock. I mentioned I started buying healthcare stocks, and probably I should end after sharing this. EBS, Emergent Biosolutions. Let's look at the chart while it is retrieving the data. EBS. Why I liked it, in the weekly chart, it stopped dropping, displayed 3 indecision at the bottom. This week is showing a bull release signal, and the backdrop color changed to bullish. And in daily I saw it had multiple bullish headwind. Price stopped going down, and it came on this day and gave a Bible gap up. Of course, Bible gap up typically is taken in an uptrend or consolidation range. That is not here, but still, interestingly, it had a big gap up in decision candle on Monday and Tuesday. Yesterday, it tried to go up. If it had gone above previous day's high, that would be a nice buy point, putting stop just below the gap up candle's low. And see the new chart signals. PSAR reversal 1 day ago. That's when I caught it. PSAR reversal, pocket pivot, mobile breakout from a squeeze with Kahuna, Bible gap up, biggest move in 5 days, and at extreme low jump and thrust. Starting to improve little bit. So that's also pointing to possible reversal. In Q signal also I had several bullish signals in recent days, and this day itself had a bullish flow and a gap up move. Let's look at the fundamentals. Okay, it's still coming. Let's look at the industry meanwhile. The industry, biotech and healthcare, still languishing. Industry is still not strong. In fact, weekend yesterday, but I found it day before yesterday. And yes, industry is still weak, but the stock looked strong relative to the industry because it had a gap up move. And if I go back to the stock, you will see fundamentally very strong stock. 3-star candidate. While it is doing that, let's look at the finder signals. Had a gap up move one day ago, green sell. Remember, orange is today, green is one day ago, with a bullish flow also one day ago. Had a memory touch within 5 days at extreme price low. And alternate signals, mostly they came one day before, so they will not be shown here. Still inside a squeeze and extreme low thrust. Still calculating the fundamental, retrieving data. In fact, sometimes the definitive connection is a bit slow, but you may, I'll not wait for that. You may look up the fundamentals. I don't know if it is in S&P 1500 stocks. Let's look it up. Yes, good for us. See the strength, fundamental strength. Undervalued stock, EPS growth extremely high for last 3 quarters, accelerating, especially last quarter and previous to that, accelerating. Very nice earnings growth and accelerating earnings growth for 3 years. Revenue growth 3 quarter last year. Great earnings quality, short squeeze potential. In the last webinar also I mentioned there are healthcare stocks like this. Difficult to find better fundamental stocks than that. EBS is one more stock like that. Yes, it has come now in the scorecard. We can see great valuation, earnings growth, revenue growth, earnings quality, short squeeze potential. So I took a position in this stock also. I'm trying to buy some stocks at a low price that are strong, very strong fundamentally, and see if I can hold it for longer period. I have to train myself to do that, but I think I got these few stocks at a very low price, so that should help me. Let me see if I'm successful in that. That was the regular roundup, also demonstration of the new features. I'm 100% sure you will find the combination of the tools very useful. And remember, the sonar also has in TradeStation has the new signals and the Q signals together. I am happy to be able to release it. If you find any issue, please let me know. I'll promptly fix it. Let's end today's session here. Thanks a lot for attending. I look forward to seeing you in our next session, which will be during the weekend. I'll announce the time as usual on Twitter, and if you're subscribing to YouTube channel, you will get notification from there as well. Thanks once again. Keep safe, and as I say, no reason not to do so. Whatever country you are in, trade profitably.